After their loss to Sentinels, Cloud9 posted a video of Zellsis giving his team a dramatic pep talk, and it's caused a lot of debate.
We play my way. My f***ing way. And we lose my way. It's not your team. 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 It's not Johnny's team. It's my way in the game, and we listen to Imi. Because when we lose, it's not on you guys. It's on us. So, we play my way. So when we lose, it's my way.
Fans have been arguing whether Zellsis' tone of voice here is inherently toxic, or if he was just trying to explain that he is protecting his team by being the fall guy when they lose, as long as they stick to the plan.
You win as a team and you lose as a team. I completely disagree with the concept of when we lose, it's my fault. When we win, it's my win. Instead, what he should be building is a sense of camaraderie and not a, it's me against everyone else kind of vibe.
Either way, unfortunately for Cloud9, they've gone 1 for 3 in Stage 2, meaning their chances of making champs are slim. An all too familiar tale for Cloud9 Valorant over the years. You would think that a team with Zellsis leading would potentially be weak tactically, but surely have a strong morale. After all, he was the glue guy at Sentinels.
I just need a smile out of you, dude. Whenever you smile, we win.
He's always smiling. He's always smiling.
There he is. There he is.
Over in Europe, the most decorated IGL of all time, Boaster, led his team to a crushing 13-0 defeat in a 2-0 stomp by Heretics this weekend. It seems like now is not a good time to be a well-known IGL in Valorant, as they're both taking the blame for their team's failures in different ways. So what's the reason for all these shock failure stories? And why is it so difficult to be the IGL in Valorant? You're watching Esports Unlocked. I want to quickly shout out my new Discord server. I'm going to host events, tournaments, giveaways in the Discord, and so much more fun stuff. So please join up. First link in the description. Let's break down what happened with Zellsis, because the clip that C9 posted has really split the community down the middle. One of the best takes I saw came from a Reddit user who put it like this. Having one clear point of failure that the whole team can build off is better than having too many cooks in the kitchen. If everyone's throwing out ideas, nobody knows who to point the finger at when it goes wrong. Letting your IGL get into a rhythm matters, because the second people start talking over him or adding their own ideas mid-round, it knocks him out of his flow. As the same person pointed out, the reason for the outrage is a lack of context. Sure, pre-match this would look like an awful speech, but post-match, once you understand that Zellsis is trying to take the pressure off for other players by putting it all on himself, it makes a lot more sense, even if the delivery wasn't exactly smooth.
We had a way of playing against Sen, and it was going really well for us. And then as the round started getting closer and closer and closer, people started crumbling and started forgetting that and just kind of doing their own thing. And you're not going to win like that. Like, you're not going to win like that all the time. Like, there's times and places to make your plays. There's times and places to fight things. But like, ultimately, your team needs a system. And when you forget to play in that system, or how to play in that system, or like you're just kind of like not doing anything with your team, it's like, well, yeah, the better team is going to win, because, you know, they're playing together. They're doing things together. They're just, yeah.
In my opinion, in terms of toxicity, this is minimal, especially in a high-stakes, competitive environment. Compare this clip with moments from the recent T1 documentary, where Sylvan was constantly being picked on by Stax and Meteor, and it almost looks a little bit tame.
왜 쫄아? 니들 총은 쐈냐 영수가 오늘? 이번 판? 수비 때?
The nuance certainly got lost here, and it's part of what makes IGLing in Valorant one of the hardest roles to actually evaluate from the outside. In what we saw of Zellsis on his time with Sentinels, through the LCQ era with Shroud, and the 2024 Masters winning team, he was certainly the emotional vibes guy, the glue guy. He seemed to be a teammate who was making all the difference with his positive vibes, supporting his team when they were down, and picking up the energy. Zellsis was the closest player we've seen in Valorant to Nothing from CSGO. For those of you who remember, Nothing was never the tactical brain of Cloud9 when they were the best CS team in NA, but he was the player who made the stars around him look far better, and who kept the vibes high.
the right way at the right time, and it's happening! Nothing he does it, and he just stands up! Ice cold!
Zellsis did exactly that at Sentinels.
I think every team you need like a guy with good vibes, leadership. Jordan definitely has all of that, so I think he's definitely like the standout. Even other people in the scene, like Sufat from Wolves, they all look up to him as that kind of guy, and they're trying to replicate that for their team. So he's like the pinnacle of that in Valorant.
But in that Masters run, John QT was the IGL. Zellsis was brought in during the off-season as a sub, and his job was not shot calling. It was actually being Pancada's replacement. So him stepping in as an IGL for C9 was an interesting gamble. In his own words, before he took over the calling, he was always a big voice on his own teams.
I mean, I was like a big voice on all my teams, every single version I've ever been on, version 1, C9, Sen. Like, I've just been a big voice always, so that's not that I'm not shy to that part of it.
You often see players who aren't the IGL being very vocal on team comms videos, like Crashies for Fnatic, but that doesn't mean that they're going to step in and be a great IGL. C9's results this year will tell you how hard that transition has been for Zellsis. Zellsis may be struggling to get off the blocks as an IGL, but his team looks far more cohesive than Fnatic. Fnatic have been terrible for their standards in EMEA Stage 2, and lost to Team Liquid, a battering by Eternal Fire, and then this weekend an 0-2 defeat to Team Heretics that included a 13-0 demolition on Ascent. This was a total collapse, led by Boaster, an IGL who's played these opponents and played this map more times than I could count. It's worth saying that a lack of home crowd in EMEA Stage 2 is likely an aspect of this loss for Boaster. Fnatic have historically fed off atmosphere, and EMEA's stage format this year hasn't given them that same wall of noise that they're used to playing with.
And listen to the crowd, right? I think everybody feels a little bit bad.
But that's still not an excuse for a 13-0. What makes this one sting more than normal is Boaster's own numbers, going 2 for 13 on the final map. Boaster's job has never been to top the scoreboard. It's been to get his players into positions where they can. Unfortunately, in esports, you're only as good as your last tournament. For Boaster, a Masters title, a lock-in title, deep runs at Champs, years at the top of EMEA are being forgotten in real time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't expect you to come to this interview, so I was just like, should we just have a talk about something else?
Honestly,
what do you want to talk about?
We're in the gulag regardless, whether we play 1 round ahead or 1 round behind. It doesn't really matter. Like the thing that matters is just, I think it's just our current performance level, you know?
This Ascent scoreline could well end up being the moment that people point to as a turning point for Boaster's career as an IGL. We don't know yet, but it's certainly been a low light and one of only 2 13-0s in his Fnatic career. And it's the same conversation Zellsis is having in Americas, just from a slightly different angle, which leads me to an obvious observation. Why is it so hard to IGL in Valorant? In-game leadership is a blend of 2 different faculties: calling strategies and leading emotionally. Usually, IGLs are better at one or the other, but rarely you will find someone who is great at both. For instance, John QT is an example of a great tactical leader who lent on Zellsis during the Masters run for team morale and emotional leadership. Someone like Scream would be an example of an IGL who seemed to be a great man manager and emotional leader, but struggled in calling and tactical implementation during his stint as Team Liquid's IGL in early Valorant. At their peak, a great IGL like Boaster is doing 3 things at once, every single round for the entire match. On the tactical side, they're building a plan before every round starts based on tendencies they've drilled in scrims and studied of their opponents. They're reading the enemy's economy and ults in real time and adjusting their plans on the fly. And then on the pastoral side, they're managing 4 personalities, egos and confidence levels, sometimes mid-choke, and crucially absorbing blame publicly, so their teammates can play with a clear head. And they're doing all the above while still having to play the game to an S-tier standard. And this almost always means that the player's individual output is going to drop, because the two jobs will pull your attention in opposite directions. Make no mistake that any of these IGLs who are struggling in VCT matches on the scoreboard would demolish you in a 1v1 with the IGL pressure off.
Come on, chat.
To get to the upper echelons of Valorant in any regard, you need to, at the very least, be an S-tier player mechanically. Being IGL is almost like playing an entirely different game to everyone else, at the same time as playing the same game with everybody else. And it isn't just a skill that you can bolt onto someone because they're smart or they're a vocal player. It takes years of dedicated practice. All that is to say that picking up a talented IGL is rare, with a good blend of experience, leadership qualities, and tactical understanding. So for that reason, you might think that Boaster and Zellsis' jobs are going to be safe no matter what, because it's so difficult to find talented IGLs. But unfortunately, with the way esports works, in my opinion, it's unlikely that teams in franchising will accept losing for very long without making a change. Being IGL isn't for everyone, and that's not an insult. It's very easy to comment on a team pep talk and turn it into a judge of a player's character and scrutinize them from the outside, but being an actual IGL, being a tactical leader, an emotional leader, still playing the game to a really high standard and then taking the blame when it goes wrong, you'll see players who transition often fail if they haven't fully embraced that role. And pro spots in esports are never safe. So who knows how long either Boaster or Zellsis will be trusted as IGLs for their teams going forward. Let's hope it's a bit longer, because both of them are super entertaining and fan favourites for a reason. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Catch you in the next one.